So, what do you do when you have a free morning before a wedding in Southern California? You go mountain biking, of course. It was a simple plan: get up early, drive out to Santiago Oaks Regional Park in Orange County, drive back, then get ready. As you have probably guessed, nothing ever goes to plan. Santiago Oaks Regional Park is located in the city of Orange, not too far from the 55. Since it's an Orange County regional park, it will cost $5 to park on weekends. Starting from the Wilderness Trail, you quickly turn left onto the Oak Trail and start to climb. Once you think you reach the top, you continue climbing the ridge until you pass Robber's Roost. The downhill starts on Barham Ridge and continues to the Chutes Ridgeline. It finally dumps you onto Roadrunner Loop. Now you enter the Irvine Regional Park and take the paved path around the park and zoo. Once you get around the park, you get back on the dirt and start the ascent on Puma Ridge for the second climb. Follow the ridge back down the road and take a connector to the Willows Trail. It connects to Santiago Creek Trail, then back to where you started on the Wilderness Trail. Total ride is 10.5 miles with just under 1,300 feet of climbing. This group of trails is a featured ride on MTV project called Santiago Oaks The Whole Jalapeno. As I started my first climb up Oak Trail, I was feeling pretty good. The temperature was in the low 70s and the marine layer blocked out the sun. However, the marine layer also caused the humidity to be high, and over time it really beat me into submission. I passed these two guys and I couldn't figure out why they were climbing at a snail's pace. I got halfway through the climb and had to get off the bike and hike up the remainder of the hill. I guess going slow worked better for them as they almost caught up to me at the top. The climbs are difficult in these Southern California intercoastal mountain areas. I have noticed these trails go directly to a 15% grade, and only flow sections are either at the top along the ridge or at the bottom in the valley areas. Once I reached the top, I really didn't get a view of anything due to the mist. It was a weird feeling riding along the trail, hearing the pop of electrical lines, but not seeing the towers or the wires. The grasses were really tall, and with all the mist, it felt kind of spooky. I kept thinking to myself, was there a mountain lion hiding out there waiting for me? That feeling didn't last long as I started to run into a lot more mountain bikers and hikers on the ridge trails. The first descent had a blind corner and loose rock and sand. Since this was my first time on this trail and I was riding alone, I didn't want to take any chances, so when in doubt, hike it. There was this one other section like this at the top of the Chutes Ridgeline Trail. I watched a bunch of cross-country riders slide through the stuff, so I know it wouldn't be too difficult to learn. However, I had a wedding to get to and I didn't have time to session the feature. Once off the ridge and riding down the side of the mountain, I had to deal with a lot of tight switchbacks and blind corners. The trail I climbed was easier than the one I descended, however, it was still fun, albeit short-lived. Once I finished the descent, the sky started to clear as the morning wore on. Luckily, the next few miles were pretty flat at the bottom of the canyons. You enter the Irvine Regional Park via paved paths and roads that basically circle the park. It was pretty quiet, with just a few runners and casual bike riders. Nothing of much interest on this part of the ride, but it was a nice break from the climbing and allowed me to rest before I reached the second climb. The last major climb was Puma Ridge, and it was steep. The grade in the switchbacks were pretty bad, at over 20% in some parts. It forced me to hike a bike again. Luckily, the climb was not too long, and once I got to the top of the ridge, it was a nice downhill. This particular trail was quite overgrown, and it doesn't appear to be ridden often. I didn't run into a single soul. Maybe all the pumas got them. They do like to hide in tall grass. Finishing up was a mostly flat double-wide trail with a couple short ups and downs. You pass by what looks like a dam, but there was no water in sight. The trail goes along a creek and takes you back to Santiago Oaks Park, where you hook back into the Wilderness Trail, then back to the parking lot. The biggest lesson I learned was when riding alone on unfamiliar trails, stick to the blue until you can gauge the terrain and features. I had many opportunities to try some other downhill sections, but I had to go with the most advanced trail. The terrain was loose and the rocks slippery. A couple mistakes brought my confidence level to a new low, so I didn't want to take any chances. I did a lot of hiking through the technical areas as well as the steep uphills, and it caused me to finish later than expected. Luckily, I still made it to the wedding on time. The nice thing about riding in Southern California is that you can ride year-round. Just be sure to ride in the morning to avoid the afternoon heat. The trails at Santiago Oaks Regional Park are well marked, double track, and easy to follow. I would recommend this ride if you happen to be passing through town. However, I would not attempt to make this a destination ride. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and leave some comments. Have a good day and keep on pedaling.